Welcome to the Six-Figure Author Experiment, where we help you break through your first or next $100,000 goal. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone. It's so exciting to be here and with, to me, a celebrity, because if you run in Kickstarter circles, there's no bigger name than Willow Winters.
Oh my goodness, you're too sweet. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So Lee, you were saying something about Willow being the best before, and I think it's a good place to start. Let's start there.
Best.
So Willow, you were saying in movies, they produce the theater edition and then there's the extra and the
explicit. Yes, the explicit. So when you're producing, I'm in talks right now. I want to self-produce my own. Yeah, I'm really excited. And I like the explicit. I want to see the explicit and all of that good stuff. I love passion flicks with their explicit. My show that's coming out has a booty. It's going to be great. But they said, when you have an explicit version, oftentimes they remove the explicit, make it more fade to black in order to sell it to shows. And then you can privately sell or put in some other platform the more explicit for your diehard fans. And we were talking, obviously, about the comics and how that seems like it's going to mirror that, you think?
Possibly if the artists are getting deals with, they're doing contracts for Marvel and there might be morality clauses and things, and they don't want to be pigeonholed as a PORN artist.
Yes.
And Russell can speak to this more, but as a newbie, that's what I've noticed.
I do just want to say, I don't get it. I don't get the shame of sex positivity, of sex is morally neutral, right? And in Marvel, we have murders. We have there's been in Sin City, you've got drug use and prostitute. There's so many avenues for these things that are morally negative. But oh my God, if a woman falls in love and has sex, they draw the line. It makes absolutely no sense. It's driving me bonkers. Why our culture is still shame, with the bell and everything. It makes absolutely no sense. So I would like to be one of the pioneers, though, to change that, if possible. Getting the right artist in. Yeah. And it's all where the money is. I think that when the money shows up, suddenly it won't be so shameful, right? Their Lamborghinis don't have shame.
Batman comic. And I was like, I need, for our comic, Russell and I are doing, I'm like, abs, beauty, beautiful male, body. Mm-hmm. And the guy was like, one of the artists was like, oh, I'm okay, abs, lots of abs. And I'm like, yes. And then I would go and read a Batman comic. And I'm like, he's in the rain with giant thighs encased in black rubber. Now we're just doing it for the female gaze. And you're like,
now you have a problem. Yeah.
Well, there was a Batman comic a few years ago in there. So DC has several lines. One of them is their black, DC Black mature line. And it was in roughly dark, but there was an outline where you could kind of see the contour of his penis. And that was
how did
literally
I not know
months,
about this?
Months of controversy for this artist.
I love controversy. Be a disruptor. If you have a line that's for mature and you're going to do that, go all the way, do the thing. It's not like everybody has to read it, right? They have different variants. They have different everything. But one of Sean's favorite movies and one of my favorite comics is The Dark Knight. So I would like to see that with cock outline. I'm not going to lie.
You can find it online. There's definitely they pulled it all down, but you could probably goes for a lot of money. It's one of these things also where the dirty secret is most of these people have porn pen names that they just that they are drawing comics for. I had a couple of animation friends who were don't say anything because I work in kids animation, but I do have a porn Patreon that is a different name, and I'm this is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Do they know that in order to have the kids, you have to have sex?
They got the kid.
Right? Yeah. And that, sex is something that the majority of people do. The majority of adults do. And if it's adults accessing it, I literally don't understand why. Why are you an adult might read, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
That's the point. That's literally the point.
Well, we're trying to go to France, where like it's more liberal, like liberal. They liberally
They're
show
Puritan over there.
I went to the Moulin Rouge this past, was it summer, whatever Rare Paris was. I went with my husband and we got to see Moulin Rouge, and I thought it would end up being dirtier than it was. It was wonderful. The very talented. The dances were great. They have a lot of acrobats as well. It was gorgeous. They also give you a lot of champagne, to the point that my husband moved my dress away from the bed because it was expensive. And he was like, I'm pretty sure you're going to throw up in the middle of the night. But it was nice. But I absolutely love the idea of outsourcing also to the more liberal, the ones who are willing to do it. And it's going to sell in the US, and then US is going to have to catch up.
We're going to make enough money that people will be like, oh, I don't need the Marvel contract. And it's just going to be a new frontier. And I'm really excited because Webtoons are huge right now. And Webtoon doesn't allow 18 plus content, but I'm devouring it and then going to the artist Patreon.
Exactly. And that's what people do. They have that slide at the end for the what kind of scenes do they call it? They don't say explicit, but for the bonus scenes or for
scenes
the
spicy scenes, something
I do
like
that. Yeah. I do that with my Patreon. I've been working on the Merciless comic book 1 for years, literally years with this artist, although I'm getting ready to like rev up and do a bunch all at once and like get this together. But we had the explicits removed from Webtoons and ended up putting them onto Patreon. So,
and you're talking about producing your own movie, which I love. I want to hear more about that. But I was thinking I would wait, like we'll be producing our own animated series.
I love that.
Soon. Like I think just what happened in books is going to happen in movies. And that was my original point was, Willow, I think you're one of the best at looking outside of the author community and kind of the group think that's in every industry where it's like, oh, to be indie, you have to be in KU, you have to publish a book a month, you have to run ads, you have to hit top 100, and then you do it all over again until you're burnt out.
Exactly. And I love the community. I love the community so much. But my love language is acts of service. And so years ago, I started my boxes, right? This is 5 years ago. And people who I love and authors who are on a pedestal for me are like, that's dumb. You're wasting your time. Don't do that. Then I went on to TikTok and the same thing. That's dumb. It's not for that. And every idea that I had where I'm like, guys, I'm seeing something, like I'm trying to share it. There was so much negativity that I was like, I'm just going to support y'all and love y'all, but I'm going to hire outside the industry. I'm going to work with people outside of the industry who have a different perspective, who aren't in this circle of this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do, especially when you see people saying, this is what you do, I'm everything's going great, everybody joins, and then taxes come in and they're like, oh, it actually wasn't. Like, I think I need to reevaluate, and everybody else has already done it. So I like a business mindset. I worked for Clinique prior, and I was taught sales. And then I had my own Etsy shop because we were absolutely broke. We couldn't even afford real diapers, and I needed to buy cloth diapers. So I started painting the butts of cloth diapers and selling them on Etsy so that I could afford to buy in bulk so I could keep some for myself and then sell the rest. So I've always had this kind of entrepreneurial desire, and I really do love sales and marketing. So I do step a little bit outside of our community and venture into other industries in order to look at what they're doing, look at patterns, notice what's going on, make adjustments. And then I come back to the community now, and instead of saying, this is what I'm going to do, I say, this is what I did. Yeah. And it might work for you, it might not. It's a risk. This is the travel. This is my journey. Love y'all. Good luck.
It's wild because I've been doing direct sales stuff since 2010, 11, like 2014 at the very least when I did Kickstarter. And I was like roundly laughed at and for years. And I was like, I guess I'm never going to have a voice of industry leadership in this thing. Cause everyone's just going to be like, no, everyone just teaches Amazon. And then it's I feel bad because it's we've been saying for years that Amazon's going to stop working because it just stop working as well. Amazon, things get saturated and algorithms change and it starts working worse for more people. And it's just logically it happened, and then it happened, and it's I don't like that everyone suddenly is I got to go find ways outside of Amazon. But also I'm well,
you've been saying it for years.
Obviously, we've been I have whole books written in 10 years ago that are this is why you should do these things and why it's going to happen. So I'm on one hand, like happy that the industry finally is catching up, and also kind of sad that like so many people like seem to have been caught blindsided by it.
And the same thing happens in our industry, I would say. Like we have these shifts every few months, and so many do rely on Amazon. But I also do think that our industry is catching on a little bit with the direct sales. And if you can't do ebooks because you want to be exclusive, you can at least do paperbacks, you can do audio, but then you have to be able to afford the audio. And that there's a lot of moving pieces. And I do think that people are, one, afraid to take risk because risk is uncomfortable, and risk, obviously, you need stability in order to continue to do this. You need that revenue stream coming in. So when you start something new, it's not going to do as well, right? My first Kickstarter, like you were talking about Kickstarters earlier, barely hit on the last day. And then as soon as it hit, it like moved up like 10 grand. So it was supposed to be 25, ended up being 35. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it again. And I needed 25 just for the costs. And I said, I have these extras. I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to do it better. And then the next one was 6 figures, and it's been 6 figures since then. But that initial Kickstarter, if it had been other authors, and I know this for a fact because other authors see the same thing, they don't do it again. They aren't persistent. They aren't going to build it if it's not already built. And back, what was this, 3 years ago when I did it, the audience wasn't really educated either on Kickstarter, but now they are. So you even have a leg up, and people are still resistant. So the fear of failure is very real. And the fear of other people watching you fail, I think, can be debilitating in this community.
It can be, but honestly, going and looking at your Kickstarters, because I haven't done even one yet. And
it's going to be amazing when you do it. It's going to be amazing.
It doesn't matter. I was like, all I want is this cost, so it will, that I can fund it myself. Actually, I'm in a pretty privileged position, but I'm looking at yours. I'm like, oh, she just kept going.
Exactly.
And I feel like I did that with books, though, like just ebooks on Amazon, as I was just a battering ram. I was like, no, this is happening.
Well, but there's another part of this, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, but there's another part of this that I have to add in, which is like, you also like saw what was working and did the things that were working and were not, it seems like you're like, oh, this didn't work for these reasons. Oh, this is how the platform likes to see things, and did it. Because so often I see people that are like literally like 7-figure authors raising like $500 on Kickstarter. I'm like you're running your Kickstarter like your Amazon launch. Like you're not doing the thing that the platform wants you to do. So obviously it's not rewarding you.
Exactly. That's that. So, and I've done 7 of them now, and I'm getting ready to do another one. And literally the day that it ended, the last one, which hit, I think, 340,000 or something like that. The first thing I said is, oh shit, this could have been better. We should have been doing this. Why didn't I look at this earlier? Because I was on autopilot since I'd done the 6 before. And as soon as it ended, and I thought, well, this is why we didn't do more. Because naturally, if I'm looking at something, I want to know, how do I make it better? Right? What is it when you're in kindergarten? They tell you good, better, best. Never let it rest. So your good is your better, and your better is your best. That is ingrained into like the marrow of my bones, as romance authors say.
Yeah, it's interesting because like that happened with. So I did this the comic that we showed you earlier, the That's Kiss comic with
very sexy. I love it.
With SK Prince, and she's like, "Why are we doing 10 covers?" And I was like, I don't know. People like them. It's like, it's what people want. And she's like, I don't get it. I'm like, you just have to, I don't personally get it either. But like, I also know people will pay $700 if you give them 10 covers.
All of them. Exactly.
And all of them in every format. And so I'm like, I'm doing the thing that the people want, even if I don't understand that thing.
And that's the market, and knowing your market and moving with the market and being open to the wider audience. Because I have my favorites in the way that I like things, obviously. But when I see something in the market and I'm like, oh, I haven't hit that yet, I will spread my love right over there and give it to them. Because what you're doing is just removing a barrier. Because the most important thing is for the reader to read your book or your comic or whatever it is. So you have to remove whatever barriers you can see so that they can get it. Right. And then once they get it, like that's the whole thing. That's the whole reason. So if you have to have 10 covers, do it. For me, if I have to have, how many covers? I have a lot of covers for my romance books as well as different interiors and different variations. And again, it's just removing those barriers so that the readers get it in their hands. whether it's the same reader who wants all of them or different readers who want that specific thing.
Yes, someone, most indie authors at some point come up to like these, I don't want to make a cover like all the same covers, like at some point, like early in your journey. And like, so when I hit it, someone was like, well, like, do you want people to read the book though? And I was like, yes. And they were like, then who cares what the cover is? Just like make the cover that is the best cover to get the most people to read it. Cause like, what you wanted is to open the book. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
It's the difference between having your artist hat on and having your publisher hat on. And they are very different. And sometimes they compete. I like to think of it as the artist is my submissive and the publisher is my dominant. And like the artist literally needs to do what the dominant says because the dominant is just trying to take care of the submissive. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the dominant's creating the safe space for the muse. Yes. I call it the muse and the manager. So I
love it. Same thing. Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
But what I love is this new world of doing lots of special editions. And Willow, you had said in a talk that you're giving people opportunities to interact with your brand the way that they want. And that might mean they're not even reading the book, but you said they read your book or they were a huge reader when they were 20 without kids. And now they're 30 with a ton of kids and all these errands to run, and they're not reading the same way, but they're still able to be a Willow Winters fan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they feel represented. So one of the reasons, one of the things that I really love about my brand and how open it is that I've had readers who are in their 50s and 60s and they haven't read in 20 years, but they say they love my books. They haven't read them, but they love it because it resonates with the feeling that they had with the books that they had earlier on, partially because of the merchandise, partially because of the way the covers look with it, that classic feel for the discrete series. And I want them to be a part of the community because, when they do have the time and the right video comes across their feed, then they're going to read it. It's kind of like when I did little Tupperware parties in college, right, for the extra money. And she told me, invite your friends. And I said, they're not going to buy it. And she said, it doesn't matter. And let me tell you why. And this is what you tell them because this is what's true. What you're doing is you're educating them on what's there. And they might not be able to afford it right now, but that's irrelevant because when they do have the cash and they remember that you have that product, then they're going to want it. And then they're going to be able to get it. So even if everybody comes and they don't buy anything, it literally is okay. Don't worry. And just tell them, I just want you to know that it's here.
Oh, it's so smart. Yeah. That's so smart. Because I find like the longer that I do this work, the thing I get more obsessed with is getting people earlier in their journey, which is like less profitable immediately. Like we're so like people. I think about this all the time because I read this article that's like we used to do brand advertising and like click advertising was like the bastard stepchild of like the thing and no one wanted to do it. And now like we've swung this pendulum to like everything is like immediate results related. And like that gets a very specific kind of buyer. One that like probably fits a predefined, a very narrow profile. And also but it negates all of these other people that are like going to read your book in 5 or 10 years or 2 years or 1 year. And like the people that are, I met with a Mercedes dealer. I used to do like ads for car dealerships. And he's like, my time horizon is 35 years. I need to talk. My goal is to find somebody so that 35 years from now, they will buy a Mercedes. And I'm like, well, that is like probably the extreme of like where someone is in their life. But like the more successful brands seem to work backwards earlier and earlier and earlier. And they're using the cachet they have now to kind of pay to roll backwards so that they find people earlier in the journey. Because if you hit somebody before they want their thing, then like now your marketing cost is zero when they want to buy it because like they've already been incepted to buy it later.
They've already been educated. I think I that is absolutely a marketing plan. And I think our industry, specifically the romance self-published authors, I think we had it really easy
Yeah.
5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago. I'm only 8 going on 9 years in, where you could just hit publish, go out to go get a drink, and oh, I'm in the top 10. Like, you didn't have to do anything, right? There was no thought process on keeping readers. A lot of like the OG authors didn't even have newsletters. There was no thought on cover reveals and gaining people like their attention. There was none of that. It was so easy. So seeing these like hard and heavy shifts, I think that 2020 definitely brought it on with TikTok and COVID. And again, you had all of these people at home reading. So a lot of authors were very comfortable because everybody's income increased. But then you also had this saturation of a younger generation writing books and seeing a market and gaining a lot of popularity very quickly, and these viral TikToks. And if you weren't moving, and a lot of authors weren't moving and weren't adapting because for years you didn't have to, then you were losing out and you were setting yourself up for failure years down the line, even though you felt so comfortable at that time.
And I'm one of them because I look at all my marketing strategies, which isn't very TikTok or social media dependent. I do run ads, but I wasn't even on Instagram, and I just like have a group.
My goodness.
So I can see my readership is older. And I'm like, oh, well, that's great. Love all of you. My ARC readers have been with me since the beginning, since like I had my first baby. And I was a baby author with baby books and a baby. And now I'm going, oh, but there's more. There's more readership, because I definitely not posted during COVID, but I was just getting everything translated. So I was reaching a foreign market. And now I'm seeing these special editions, these discrete editions. People are asking for them on TikTok. They're like, I want to read this in front of my mom.
Yeah.
And you have 2 men on a cover with a lady in undies. And I'm like, I get it. Okay, finally. And now I see the special editions and the packaging, different packaging, as I got my book in German, I got my book in French, and now I'm getting it in all white covers with foil.
Or gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm the winter edition.
I love it.
So yeah, and you were a trailblazer on that. It's taking me
backlash for it, which is like insanity. Like the people who are disappointed with me that I would create discrete covers because I am woman, hear me roar, should be what we're doing. We should be proud, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, I was like, well, some people would get murdered. Some people would literally get murdered. Some people live in a household where they'll get kicked out of, or a husband who doesn't understand. I said the most important thing is that they read the book. So if it's not for you, that's fine. But the most important thing for me is to get somebody to start reading, and they might turn into I am woman, hear me roar every moment of every day. But even I, sometimes when I go out somewhere, I don't feel like having to yell. I don't feel like having to stand up for myself. If I just want to enjoy my book in peace, I have my Kindle, and that's okay.
And then I was at a conference. No, I was at the book Barnes and Noble signing, and my friend Ennis is next to you, and she goes, guys, you will never believe this. She's like, Willow is so smart. This is definitely the Willow fangirl episode for sure.
Is this the Wilkes-Barre signing that happened this past summer?
Yeah, we were
chatting business. I love her.
And Ennis is like, okay, people came up to Willow's table and they said, oh, I own this book, but not in this cover. And you're giving them options, and you're really leaning into this books as art, books as collectible. And that's what people are like, oh, you're supposed to have a lady in undies on the cover and 2 bare-chested men. Yes, but we've also have eras where there's the illustrated cover, and then there's the man chest, the Fabio, and then there's the object, and then it wraps around, and now we're just doing all 4 at once.
Exactly. And there's a way to create a discrete cover that does resonate with what's inside. There is a way. Like one of the things with my discrete series is I was intentional with what color I chose for which trope, because pink and small town, that goes together. Burgundy, like a deep burgundy, is fantasy, a dark fantasy, like I wanted it to make sense so that even the color, like that small detail matters. And so it is still marketing. It's not lazy. It's not easy. It's not confusing. It makes sense, and
discreets are harder for me. Discreets are like, I had to go
find more subtle.
I had to find new cover artists. People were like, no, you've had me for years. And all I do is I put a wolf on the cover and a guy without a shirt. And I'm like, I know, and it's worked for so long, but now I want some other options.
Yeah. So we have these options, right, with all these covers, and we're doing these direct sales. And I've just started doing ebooks in the different options too. So you get the normal, you get the discreet. We're as of, I believe this week, we're uploading all in illustrated as well that we have, because I'm getting all of them in art form, taking a little bit longer because the dark romance with art is obviously not a cutesy. I have to find an artist who can do it. But I was talking to my Amazon rep at Romance Author Mastermind, which was lovely. I absolutely loved every minute of it. And I told her, I'm seeing that people are buying the ebook in the discrete, which does not inherently make sense to me, because in my initial mindset was, discrete is this safety and this a way of being discreet, right? So if an ebook form, you're already discreet, you're in your e-reader, but some people literally just prefer it. And I forgot that.
We had a request from a lady who was like, I share my account with my son and he's 12. I'm like, your son's going to learn a lot, but I understand. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I told Amazon, you should offer multiple ebook options, because they were resistant to multiple paperback options, even though Alice in Wonderland has how many freaking different versions and covers. I said, I want that too. And then, now they allow it. And I'm like, same exact thing for ebook, please. And I'll see them, I believe, in Author Nation. I'll be meeting with my rep along with her supervisors. So anything that we want out there from Amazon, I'm going to attempt to do my best. Yes, I'm going to do what I can.
Well, I will also say, like, I am big on aesthetically pleasing things, and I love Y'all's books. It's great, but like, I just don't find it aesthetically pleasing to see the covers that have been popular for 10 years. I'm like, I like a pretty, pretty images and objects and things. So you can catch me on a $20 ebook or something that's just looks really it's ooh, what is that thing? And I will go down a rabbit hole. But if I don't think the cover is aesthetically pleasing, this is just not in Manchester Romance, it's also there's all sorts of things where people are like, I love this book, and I'm like, I'm never going to read that book. Just the cover's ugly. I'm not going to do it. Just I don't resonate with the cover. So then they put a new cover out, and I'm like, why have I never heard about this book before? And people are I told you about it years ago. And I was like, oh, is this the ugly one? Man, they really upped their game.
No, Game of Thrones had a cover I saw, I think probably on Twitter or Blue Sky or somewhere, where the original Game of Thrones cover came out. And I was like, oh, I mean, it looked very fantasy, but it wasn't right. It looked very Arthurian, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table-ish, and it didn't sell. And then they changed, and I saw multiple editions. I was like, oh, that one started to sell it, didn't it? Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with changing a cover. I had somebody who was embarrassed because her book wasn't selling. She wanted to change the cover, but she spent all this time doing a cover reveal and didn't realize it was bad till she launched it. And I said, why are you embarrassed? If they're scrolling by this one, when you put your new one on it, they're going to stop for that one and not even put 2 and 2 together. Just do it. I'm not embarrassed in money, in business. Business doesn't, there's no way to be embarrassed if you're thinking about it. Business.
It's just, you're a battering, it's shots on the goal. It's a battering ram, and it's iteration, and it's, let me try it. And if you love it, you're like, I will keep doing this until it works.
Exactly.
Which is so interesting, because so many people are like they don't have good read through after between book 2 and book 3, and they're like, but I'm going to keep throwing ads at this thing that's not working, instead of rewriting the book or changing the cover or anything. And I meet with them, I console them, and they're like, I'm like, well, what are you doing? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, you have something is not working. You see the problem, and just you're not asking people what they don't like you're not changing what is happening here? Am I in a crazy world?
Literally, one of my favorite sayings is, I don't know if somebody said it or if I just came up with it, but it's okay to have a bump in the road. It's not okay to willingly stay on a bumpy road. Move your ass.
Well, I will say, it's okay to stay on that bumpy road as long as it's bumpy. What I don't like is willful ignorance. If you say this is staying, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, but then your read through will forever be this. And you should just do, keep this series as it is and go write another series. I don't know, but you can't you have to, if you go in eyes wide open, then like, I don't care what you do. Like, and then like that thing happens, maybe something different will happen. But like, as long as you know what's probably going to happen, you can do whatever you want in like that realm. But like, you can't then also complain about when that thing happened.
Yeah, like you've got to accept it. So I guess some people do like a bumpy road. I don't like a bumpy road. I like a nice smooth ride. So if I notice a bump, I'm like, is this something that's indicative of the road that I'm on? Or was this a one-time thing that's easy to fix?
Right.
So yeah. And I like to do it as quickly as possible, because the faster you can get it done, the faster you can move on to the next thing that might need tweaking, or the next book that might be writing, or needing to be written.
Yeah. I also want to go back for a second and talk about, you guys are talking about being like, you guys are massively successful doing tons of different discrete options and at like the same time, and tons of different translations. But like my career was like, I only did the special editions. Like my books are just on Amazon now. Like literally this past week, I put 40 books on Amazon. Like just like, and they're like, you can go to my page now and you're like, wow, you look like an author. And like, there's not a lot of reviews on there, but like until like literally maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I had like very few things on there because I was focused on like, I only have the energy to like, I need to know every person who reads my books. Like I need to like master the flow of like all of those things. And to me, the having it on retailers like was chaos because I couldn't focus. So like I was like, I'm just gonna take retailers out of this thing and like do just special editions. But like then I had a series that was like terrible covers like for the series, and like but like it worked on Kickstarter enough, and I was able to like redo it for the launches on retailers, and like I was able to work all of that stuff out. So like it is possible, if you're listening to this, being like, I don't have 10 translations and like 5 discrete covers in here. It's like most people don't, and like do one, and like you will probably please your existing fans and find new fans doing that, right?
I like two things. First, it sounds like you have an engineer mind and you think like my husband. My husband's actually half owner of my company, half CEO. We're 50-50 split. And you talk just like him, like having everything in a list, being very like methodical about how you're doing it. But the one thing that strikes me is you did the highest ROI item. You focus on the special editions, which is where you get that stability. And for the longest time, our industry has focused on the lowest ROI item, which was that ebook. Yeah. And now with this shift, I think we are going to see a lot of sustainability for authors who previously didn't have it once they can get to that step. And we do have the platforms, like you said, Kickstarter, that can aid us in that startup money in case we don't have it, just sitting around waiting to be spent on pretty books.
Oh, yeah, I love that, because last episode, Lee and I were talking about, there's this huge thing about sustainable productivity. And like, we're finally starting to have this conversation about like, maybe writing a book a month is not sustainable for most people. Like there are some people, I used to say no one can do it. Most people cannot do a book a month. There are some people that like, that is their happy place and they thrive even after 5 years. But like whatever that sustainable productivity is, actually like there's another way you burn out, which is like sustainable monetization. Because if suddenly you're like, hey, I can only write 4 books a year, brilliant. It's like, well, you've now 30'd your output and you've 30'd your money and you don't have. So like, where's the extra 2/3 of money coming from?
So that's another thing that I switched in my business that I didn't realize was so weird until I was at Romance Author Mastermind. I had other thoughts as well, but I'm going to stick with this one while I can, is that my business no longer requires new releases. It's not really, it's not advantageous to continuously produce. In fact, I found it looking on TikTok and watching these patterns that it was actually harming authors to do more work. Like that whole saying, I'm going to do less and make more. There were a lot of authors who leaned into that. And that is where the stability is at right now. Personally, I like 4 books a year if 2 are co-written. I've got 3 kids, they're taking up more time, and I only write around 55,000 words. So that's not unreasonable. That's okay, especially if two are co-written. But I noticed on TikTok, all of the authors who had these virals, if they leaned into that book, no matter how old it was, or whether it was a new release or not, and they continued to post about that one, they gained and gained and gained momentum, and they had all of this success that they could lean on and ride on. And then you have these authors who had these virals, and a month later, like, this is my new book, and they let it die. And they lost their like, now you're risking it with a whole new marketing scheme. Like, you had something that people wanted, that people were going to talk about, that people associated with you, with your community, with, it could be, you know, your specific subgenre. Your book was going to be that book, and that would identify this entire community. And then you decided that it wasn't worth continuing, which is telling your audience this isn't worth continuing. Well, which, like, and that says a lot.
Yeah. I wonder also if there's something in the, like, if I read this book, then I can join this movement. But like, once you move on, it's like, now no one's talking. Like, there's not going to be people reading this book to like be chatting about it.
100%. That's why so for the longest time, for like 2 years, I was writing a book because I wanted to write it. And I have my readers who are waiting on books. And my financial manager said, you're throwing them over the wall. And I said, I know. They're not one of the bricks. I don't need these bricks. Like, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for my readers. I love my readers. I love to write. I'm going to continue to write, but I'm not going to compromise this castle that I'm building. Like, so even today, now we've shifted gears a little bit. I am doing more with my new releases, and which makes sense, and all of that. But I also post 6 times a day, and at least once, if not twice a day, it's either all he'll ever be or highest bidder, or to be claimed. Because they're to be claimed less so, because there's not a lot of follow through on that, because I don't have the books written. So once it's a longer series, I'll post it more. But still to this day, my 6-year-old books, or 6 and 7-year-old books, are the ones that I give the attention to, because they're the ones that readers know me. Like, they might not know Willow Winters, they might not recognize my face, but they know my book. And then when they see me with that book, they're like, oh yeah, that's her. Oh yeah, that's the dark retelling. You know, that is the one that everybody's talking about.
Okay, there's how many billion people on the planet? You know,
exactly.
How many of them
7.8. There's 7.8 billion. Half are like children. Yeah, half of that are women. A third of that will read your book. Yeah, and the majority of those are English. So that's 1 billion people.
Yeah. So okay. So you reached all of them in 30 days? Or in a day, you know, if you're posting about a different book every day. And I love this information about TikTok, because I was feeling it. I was like, I think I need to do one book, one scene 50 times, like 50 videos, one thing.
Yeah. And even if you go outside the industry again, who was it that there was a musician who recently said, I sing this for 20 years. She sings the same song. And she said, I'll do it until I die because it's paying for my yachts. But she has produced plenty of music. And we know this. All of these artists from, you know, the 80s, the 90s, even from the 70s are still singing the same song. It's the song. Everybody has their one thing. Can you produce more? Absolutely. Do you necessarily have to? No. If you want to, that's one thing, but you don't have to. Once you find the book, I think the worst thing an author can do is to put it on the back burner. Keep it up front. It's not a bad thing to be known for one book. It literally isn't. And I used to think that Forget Me Not was my one book, and then All He'll Ever Be took that over. And now I also have Highest Bidder, and I'll juggle it. You know, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And when something sticks, I'll be proud of that.
Yeah. And you know this because you're looking at data, and you're willing to have a new release outshine them. And I was thinking to myself, like, of all my projects, I think 1 in every 50 projects, and I write really short, and I've had like 7 co-writers. I have a harem. And I'm like, well, out of every 50, I'll get something that is so marketable. Like, that's the one you should market. But I had someone look at my catalog and was like, okay, just advertise this one book. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that takes the pressure off.
Exactly. And it makes it easier for your audience and for your readers. The number one question I'm asked is, where do I start? So if you already have that, this is the most polarizing, but it's also the most popular and everybody loves this book, that's so easy, as opposed to, well, this is my new release, and this is this free in series, and this is, you can have it all on a page where you can send them a link. So, but if you have the book to recommend, this is what I'm known for, that speaks volumes to the reader, and then it keeps that momentum going.
Well, you're saying something that I just want to tease out, because I found by being able to be so like into my own community, I noticed that people would ask me like, what book do I recommend to people? And I was like, oh, I have chaos. Like I have like I don't. I was like I need to find the book because you need one of the biggest. If word of mouth marketing is like the thing that is the most important thing, then in like most marketing teams, then like you have to make it easy to get people to into your books. You have to tell them, make it easy to talk about your books, and that sounds like what you're saying.
100%. It's also giving them the word bites. They're literally giving them the bites. You're repeating the things. So many readers know this is her discrete series, color coded by darkness and trope. The couple's name on the front, nothing on the back. And they know it verbatim because I have said it 1,000 times. And they see it and they think that it's fun to say and it's funny to talk about and they can imitate my voice. And it literally gets the message out there and then it goes viral because that's the thing. So if you can repeatedly say, this is what this is, very concisely and in words that they'll remember, which means oftentimes it is a disruptor, right? Because it can't be similar to what somebody else is saying or doing, because then it's not memorable. It's not going to stick. So if you have that disruptive language that is cohesive and easy to remember, that will help you take off and spread that word of mouth so much easier. Like somebody said also, if you say it enough, people believe it. So just keep saying whatever it is you want them to be known for. Say it. Like if you say, I'm the queen of angst 1,000,000 times, eventually they're going to say she's the queen of angst, you know, and that's just what it is. So figure out what it is that is going to convert, that is the truest thing of your books, that is the easiest thing, and then say it 1,000,000 times.
Yeah, I was on a call with one of my long-term consulting clients, and I got on the call and she's like, it's Russell. He sits at the intersection of craft and commerce. And I was like, yeah. That's like the first line of my blog. I was like, yeah. I didn't know people even looked at that thing really, but like
say it 1,000,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Now say it every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that people are like, I have so many things in my universe, like they can get lost in it. It's like, no, most people like think they love drama. But in reality, like the minute that they have chaos of like, oh, there's 5 potential things, it's like, I can't make sense of this. Like I need one thing. If you tell me to do one thing, I will do that thing. But if you tell me to do one of 5 things, I will never do anything.
Okay, this is what I'm getting. Our creative brains are like a jungle.
Yes.
And when the manager takes over and is like, okay, Muse, it's like that Picasso drawing of the bull, like just the barest outline, yeah. Like the drawing on the cave wall and the Picasso bull. It's like, no. You get to have jungle chaos in your brain. But when we communicate to other people, this is what we give them. That one.
I love this analogy of the jungle because it's also like what are those swings that Tarzan swings on, that rope swing?
The
vine.
Yeah. It's like you need to have one vine. Maybe there's 1,000,000 vines in your jungle, but you need to have one vine that you hand to whoever is outside of the jungle. This is where you start. This is what this is. And get them in, and then they can go crazy in your jungle or die, one or the other.
Their mug. My mind is a jungle.
Yeah.
I give them one vine.
Yeah.
So interesting, because we talked about movies before, and it's like you get the one key frame that has like the meme, and like then
yes.
like you remember the rest of the movie and like go see the movie, but like all you think about the next 10 years after you see the movie is like the
dick.
Right, exactly.
Literally.
Dick. All right, I have to show you guys something. I'm going to do this live. Have either of you seen this? I'm going to make you go to it. So this movie was made 100% by AI. It is a full 87-minute animated movie made by a team of, there was animators as well. There's like a team of 30, cost $700,000 to make this whole, and the whole movie you can find on YouTube.
I think, so I clicked the link, the one robot, he kind of looks like Wall-E in the thumbnails a little bit. It's like, oh no, he doesn't. That's completely different. Okay. So I haven't seen it. I haven't heard of it. But the mention of AI definitely like, woo, like that's something that gets my guard up.
Well, I mean, so it's hard to, but like the whole 87-minute movie is there, and like my friend's like, this is really scary, but it's also happening, and like one of the things that you will soon be able to do, what we've been dealing with, because I live in LA for a long time, is like what happens when one person can make a movie, can
And
make
do
a
it
whole
all.
movie, can like do the whole thing, or like what happened. And it's like there's the scary part of that, right? But like, look, you and Lee are very successful. Like you are not financing that animated movie. There's just like it's like that's like the equivalent. So, but like
that's about what it's going to cost for the first 2 episodes of the series that I want to produce.
I'm thinking, Russell, I'm hoping AI is just like we use spell check. I'm hoping that I can hire animators and they use whatever tools they use, because I don't even know.
They're the ones getting the money.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will pay them. And I know that AI art is like, I want all artists to be paid. But again, every time I have bought something, I pay the artists. And sometimes they are using AI to enhance their vision or to guide their vision. And I know that is still like, it's not okay because whatever. Anyway, I want all the artists to be paid, and they're like, we're not being paid. So I want them to be paid for what we have now as AI, but then I want AI to be a tool, because it is a tool. It should be.
It will be a tool. It will
be a tool.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking forward to. And I know that it's all fruit of the poison tree at this point, and I'm hoping there can be an ethical way to do this and to train it and whatever. But I think that this is coming. So
I have a few thoughts. The first is that newer authors or newer artists or newer production companies are going to have a hard time when AI is there and they're saturating the market and the brands aren't known. There aren't those everybody doesn't know that lingo for this new person, right? So I think established authors and established production companies are going to have an easier time when AI comes in, and it's going to be the newer ones that's drowning out. But my other thought is there are currently lawsuits ongoing. Getty's Images, I believe, sued. I forget exactly who it is. And then for for authors, Stephen King is also a part of a lawsuit, which it kind of pisses me off that it's not representative of an entire industry where you can show that you sent a DCMA to a site that had uploaded your work without rights, right? Because I can prove that I was on the same sites that Stephen King is saying that they did that, right? But I'm not going to be a part of this lawsuit, which I think is fucked up. But my mentality at this particular moment is have that stable revenue with multiple revenue streams and build my community and continue to move forward in that respect, and wait for the end result of those lawsuits, because it's lawsuits that are going to make the law. And we're hoping for an ethical and moral outcome.
Yes.
And I want the legal system to take that over. So right now I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to move forward. But we do have AI written work saturating Amazon, and they suck because it's in the beginning stages, and AI does learn very quickly. But they're absolute shit. You just had an author recently, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to name names, who is suing someone because they took her book, an older book, threw it through AI and said, make a different version of the same book. It kept the same names. And that's how she found out. The names of the character, if the AI had actually changed the names of the character, she may not have even found it. Yeah, but because it didn't change the names. So now all these people who are using AI to just take a book that already exists, rewrite it in a different way, and change the names, they're going to get away with it, right? More than likely they're going to get away with it. So I did also ask my Amazon rep, I said, can't you just put a little taggy that says AI produced or AI works inside or something like that? And, there's always the risk of a lawsuit, right? Because there's always a risk they're going to get it wrong. And then that could
they do get things wrong.
Yes.
But there's someone out there with like 700 mystery novels, and it's like kind of the same sort of cover. I was seeing this on Blue Sky.
I didn't see it. I wrote down while you were talking earlier, I wrote down Blue Sky because I literally clicked my first link ever to Blue Sky yesterday.
I love Blue Sky.
I'm like, that's a sign from the universe. So I'm guessing it's like a social media platform, sort of like Twitter.
It's new Twitter, but old Twitter. It's exactly like old Twitter. And it's all my feed is filled with cartoon artists. I'm not there as Lisa Vino yet, but I'm there as like me hiding out, looking at bunny pictures and pictures of sunsets and art by cartoonists.
Yeah.
And following authors. So I saw that on Smart Bitches Trashy Books. They were going down the rabbit hole being like, oh my God, I'm getting stuff from the library and it's all this AI written stuff, but they didn't know. So I'm guessing that
I picked out stock photos. I didn't realize were AI.
Oh,
and then Lori, LJ Design said, do you know that there's AI in this and do you still want to use it? And I said, oh shit, I didn't know, because it literally looked like just a photo. Like I had no idea.
And
so
tweaking going on. So there might be some manipulation. So the human is now involved. And I'm like, there's going to be some gray areas. But actually, I have a positive view of all of this because I do think there are ethical concerns and I want those to be resolved. But on the other side,
it is going to make things easier.
We are here with ideas and genius and love. And when you love something, you talk about it and you market it. And AI cannot do that. Like even somebody flooding the system with 700 books, you know, if you have your one little, I'm following a very new person on Literotica with this really great, sexy elf king. Anyway, and she has a little Patreon and I'm like, oh my God, she's doing it. She's like posting her raw work, which I love raw writing. And then she's like, follow me on Patreon to get the chapter early. And she's giving us updates like, all right, I'm working my day job, but then I'm going to post chapter 16. And I'm like, you're doing it and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. She's going to, because she loves this and you can feel her love. And also, you feel the love of the Elf King, which is what I really want to feel. So.
100%. And also, I remember years ago saying, I have so many stories in my head, I'll never be able to write them. I wish that I could just like hook up a machine and it would pluck it out of my head. And if we can utilize AI in a way where we are individually training it, and I can literally put in some of my things, or maybe even like, I wish I could just visual, like I'm a very visual writer. I wish there's something I could hook up to my head. And as I'm visualizing it, it's writing it in my voice because everything would be so much faster. So I'm like, did I manifest this? Did I manifest this? And now I'm like resistant to it. I don't know, but I do want the lawsuits to be figured out because there's a lot of money that isn't going to people. Like I have a friend who works in graphic design, 4 kids in Connecticut, great job, lost his job and he's given till December to figure out what he's going to do because AI has now replaced them to the extent that they had to remove that part of their business. So for that, I'm like, what's going to happen here? You know, like where are like, I want to see the end result of the lawsuits. I want to fast forward a little bit of time and make sure that art is still being done by humans and it's not humans who have either passed or humans who are no longer getting paid and their art is being used to create new art. You know, like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. We're gonna find out what's happened. But I do agree that like when you love it and you love what you do, you are gonna find your place for it. So
all right, went in a very controversial tangent. I want to come back to it because we're almost out of time. I want to do respectful. No, go for
just it. One thought. Margarita Cole, who is, a lawyer who represents a lot of authors in the industry, mostly copyright and contract. Although she has, her husband's a litigator and she used to do litigation. I think she would be an excellent person for you guys to have on the podcast if you did want to dive a little deeper into the controversial.
We can. I'm trying to get her to come to New Orleans because she's my lawyer. We hung out in Dallas and she did the contract for the comic for all of us.
Just in New Orleans. She popped down there for like a hot minute. I love New Orleans. Okay, sorry. That was, If
you love New Orleans, we have a conference in New Orleans called the Future of Publishing Mastermind in March. It's great.
In March of 2025?
Yeah.
Yeah, send me the info.
I will.
It was really great. It was very fresh and high level. I love like talking to readers and authors on every level. This one was really special. This was a really special conference. So
nice.
It's Monica Leonel and Russell's baby. And it's very well
wonderful.
done. Yeah.
I hope I can convince my husband to come too, because he's never been to New Orleans and we can make a little vacation out of it. Yeah, and he's brilliant as well. And he has his own opinions on a lot of things as well. And he's brilliant. One of the reasons why I do look outside of the industry so much. So yes, but I didn't mean to interrupt you and make this tangent happen.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm happy to have any tangent in here. This is like a chaotic mess or thing, and like somehow it like ends up being brilliant as well.
This is a jungle, y'all. It's a
jungle.
It is.
Is there anything we missed talking besides actually introducing you, which we actually didn't do? Like we didn't say like who is Willow, what is she, do? Like, what books does she write? Like, why is she even here? Like, we just assume everyone knows.
Everybody knows.
Willow Winters, where can we find you?
I'm on every social media platform, soon to be also on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Willow Winters, I write all sorts of romance books, from small town to mafia and serial killers, whatever I feel like writing at the time. They all have happily ever afters. And I really do love to talk about things in the industry and all of that. So you can find me anywhere, and everywhere has a link in my bio to everywhere else. Nice and easy. Website is willowwinterswrites.com, and it's writes as in like I'm writing a book, not writes as in I'm always right.
Yay. Awesome.
Except she is.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you
Don't
so
tell
much.
my husband that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully we can hang out in Vegas in a couple weeks and in
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
Yay. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. For more, head on over to sixfigureauthorexperiment.com for archive access, resources, and more. We'll see you next time.